Wow. Yes, I didn't say. What are you looking so sad about, Jeff?
I'm surprised. I'm really insulted. That's not right, what you just said.
What do you mean, what I just said?
I'm getting a drink of water. I'm late getting home, but you talk. I said something about the greatest heavyweight champ, man. I'm a hometown man, and you talking about Joe Louis, man. Joe Louis wouldn't be nothing for me. Joe, I tell you, Joe, do you think you would have stood a chance with me?
Well, one time during my career, I was on a Formula One tour.
I would have been a bum compared to you.
What's happening, my people? It's Cast Sports again, back for another afternoon with the family. That's right. You know what time it is. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's the Boxtorian bringing you all that boxing history. Boxing is the greatest sport of them all. That's why we love it, can't get enough of it. Salute to Miss Cass, because without her, none of this would be possible. Salute to everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cast Sports, the Boxtorian. Today, the life and career of gentleman Gerry Coooney. Gentleman Gerry Coooney today. It has the family today. It's Friday, right back at the end of another big week of boxing history. Ending it up with the profile, gentleman Gerry Coooney. Big fight tomorrow. Raymond Muratales defending his IBF title against Andy Cruz. Andy Cruz just 6 fights in, but they put him on the fast track. But Muratales says it's too soon for Cruz, and he's going to prove it as soon as the fight starts tomorrow. That they rushed Cruz too fast. Cruz got that extensive, very decorated amateur career. Him and his team says he's ready. But we will see tomorrow. And then, of course, next week is a big fight week for Shakur and Teofimo. That's what we want, the best against the best. And that's what we're getting. January has been very good to us, boxing fans. Your gentleman, Gerry, he started in 1977 toward the end of the golden age of the heavyweights, best period ever for heavyweights. But he fought a couple of them toward the end of their careers. Ron Lau, Jimmy Young, Jimmy Ellis, Ken Norton. So we're going to take a look at his life and career. We're going to look at his resume today. And time permitting, we're going to take a brief preview of Andy Cruz and Raymond Muratalla. And then we're going to look at some of the greatest heavyweight chins in boxing history at the end of the Gerry Coooney profile. All that today on Cast Sports, the Box Story, bringing you all that boxing history. Okay, so let's get into the fight of the day today. Back to yesterday we did a fighter of the day. Back to our fight of the day format today. Okay? So now, without further ado, today's fight of the day. Today's fight of the day is Mike Tyson versus Trevor Berbick. Mike Tyson versus Trevor Berbick. Iron Mike at his scariest. Yeah, this was when not Iron Mike was Iron Mike. First title shot. His mentor Customato didn't get to see it, of course. But yeah. Bear with me for a moment, please. We're going to get started with the fight of the day in one moment. But as everybody, it's Friday. Time for the weekend. Big fight this weekend. Raymond Muratalla, Andy Cruz. Mike Rim in the building. Salute Mike Rim. Get ready to start our fight of the day in a minute. But salute, Mike. How are you today? Happy Friday. Okay, fight of the day. Let's get started. Today's fight of the day is Mike Tyson versus Trevor Berbick. November 22nd, 1986. Iron Mike at his scariest. Iron Mike Tyson at his scariest. All right, let's get into it. "20-year-old Mike Tyson was making his first challenge for the heavyweight title. Defending WBC champion Trevor Berbick may have been the more experienced fighter, but not too many people expected to see him hold on to his belt. Although many people erroneously claimed that Tyson would become the youngest heavyweight champion in history, were he to do as anticipated and win. In fact, he would become the youngest ever holder of the WBC heavyweight title. Floyd Patterson's record for being the youngest ever world champion at heavyweight while age 21 would remain intact whatever happened on the night of November 22nd, 1986. Maybe Tyson would go on to claim linear honors before reaching the age Floyd had been when he'd done so. But time alone would tell us this. Still, even winning a portion of the heavyweight title while only a few months out of his teen years would be an incredible achievement for Iron Mike. The crowd at the Las Vegas Hilton watched with keen anticipation to see if he would do so. Before the fight, there had been some minor controversy regarding the apparel the boxers would wear into the ring. Tyson, as had been his custom, wanted to wear black. Unfortunately, Berbick, who had the right to choose his champion, wanted to do the same. Tyson chose to accept a fine rather than change his colors. If, however, Trevor had hoped to unsettle the young contender with such mind games, he was to be badly disappointed. The introductions reverberated around the arena, and then battle commenced. The fight was no contest right from the start. Iron Mike came out with fearsome ferocity, while Berbick fought as though he was a fighter who was only a few fights removed from the amateurs. What was actually surprising was the fact that Trevor managed to make it through the very first round. He was badly hurt on a few occasions in the opening 3 minutes, particularly at the very end of the round when he was badly shaken. He stuck out his chin as the bell rang in an attempt to show defiance. But one could see in his eyes what his real emotions were. He was utterly bewildered, scared to death. Round 2 started, and we were about to witness an ending to a boxing contest that was utterly frightening. Utterly frightening. Tyson thrashed his way through Berbick's offense, such as there were, and landed his own hydrogen bombs. Although Berbick's chin had a pretty decent reputation, tonight it had no chance. He was soon put down, and although he bounced back up immediately, it was clear to everyone then that a fight was imminent. Tyson then landed an inside uppercut to Trevor's jaw, and, in a delayed reaction, the soon-to-be former WBC champion crashed again. He attempted to rise, but his legs, having been reduced to jelly, along with the contents of his skull, had neither the capability or strength to hold him upright, and he fell again. And then yet again. 3 times he was felled by the one punch. One punch. Went up and down 3 times. Tyson's power was truly awesome in this fight. Referee Mills Lane had no other option then than to end the slaughter. Yet, he had been unable to accurately administer a count. What with Berbick's yo-yo impression. As soon as Mills began to count for one knockdown, Trevor would fall again, and another would be needed. Not since Foreman annihilated Frazier had a defending champion been so brutally relieved of his crown. And we had a new era in heavyweight boxing. Tyson made it look so easy on this occasion. He gave his late mentor, the great Cus D'Amato, a loving tribute, saying how he knew he'd be up there in heaven talking to all the great fighters, telling them how his boy had done it. Tyson spoke with genuine emotion, as one would expect. What couldn't have possibly been expected was the very strange way Trevor Berbick would be acting years after his destruction at the hands of Iron Mike. BBO Sports TV in the building. What's up, BBO? Fighters a day. Iron Mike Tyson versus Trevor Berbick. And Trevor was in trouble with this fight. Trevor looked scared to death when they were given the introduction, when they were given the instructions at ring center. Looked like he was actually trembling. Trevor was trembling. But salute, BBO. Yeah, but what was strange was how Trevor Berbick acted years after the fight. In his excellent book, The Long Round, writer Dominique Calder-Smith speaks with Berbick, and the former champion's mental state seems to be in an absolutely bizarre state. Berbick makes some of the most outlandish claims imaginable. First, he says there was no way Tyson could have beaten him in a fair fight, and that the real boys who control boxing knew this, and therefore made him visit a doctor who then made him sick. Yeah, Trevor said this. Then he goes on to say that if one watches the tape of the fight, he emphasizes the original tape, as if to imply the footage we see these days has been tampered with. But I saw it live, okay? And I saw Trevor get smashed, so I don't know what he's talking about. And we were able to see that the punch that finished him off was so frighteningly actually missed his head. Berbick claims medication given to him by the doctor he was made to visit with was the real reason for his defeat. Talk about a confused mental state. Clearly, Berbick was hurt far more in his brutal 2 rounds with Tyson than was at first thought. One can only hope he is not so far gone these days and that he can live a somewhat normal life. Yeah, Trevor went up and down like 3 times in the final knockdown. As for Tyson's life after the 1986 fight, well, what episode in Mike's life do we not all know of already? The fascinating and sometimes disturbing opera of his life was played out on a very public stage as we watched him slowly but surely self-destruct. These days, he is known more as a somewhat tragic celebrity, more so than as a former boxer. He had many good performances in the ring after the title-winning fight with Berbick, but in some ways, Mike headed downhill from then on. Many fans rank him as one of the greatest heavyweights ever, and he certainly has to be rated highly, but still, when you watch the destruction job he did on Trevor Berbick almost 20 years ago, almost 40 years, it is 40 years ago, 1986, we can't help but think Tyson wasted a lot of his potential in the years that followed. Could anyone have imagined, after seeing such a dominating performance as he had against Berbick, that a little over 2 years later, Tyson would be struggling against the likes of Frank Bruno and then later Buster Douglas? After what he did to Berbick, unimaginable. Nobody would have thought that. You know, he would have had so much trouble with Frank Bruno and then got knocked out by Buster Douglas. Everyone will agree that Tyson, who crushed Trevor Berbick with such ease, would have done the same to the Brunos and the Buster Douglases of the world. There you have it, the fight of the day. Mike Tyson absolutely crushed Trevor Berbick. Okay, salute Mike Rim. How are you today? Let's finish the fight of the day, Mike Tyson versus Trevor Berbick. In the life and career of gentleman Gerry Coooney. Yeah, he was a nice heavyweight, BBO. They kind of messed him up a little bit mentally when they rushed him in there with Holmes. He wasn't ready for that, and that kind of one of the classic cases of what fight really affected a fighter's career. Because he could have been much better, but that Holmes fight took a toll on him. He had went into depression issues and everything, man. Holmes helped him break him out of it. Yeah. Rushed him in there too fast. But we're gonna talk about it. Let's salute Mike Nazik. How are you today? Gentleman Gerry Coooney today. We got Andy Cruz and Raymond Muratalla. Muratalla defending his IBF tomorrow. I got something on them. Let's take a look at that now. Andy Cruz and Raymond Muratalla. A little preview of that fight before we start on. No, I think I'll wait for the end to do that. Let's do the Gerry Coooney first. Then we'll touch on Andy Cruz and Raymond Muratalla. I think we have a little time. Then we're going to look at some of the best heavyweight chins. Not overall in boxing, some of the best heavyweight chins in boxing history. Okay. But first, we're going to take a look at Gerry Coooney today. What did I do? Yeah, okay. Life and career of gentleman Gerry Coooney. There we go. All right. Mike Mazik, BBO Sports TV. Mike Rim and Miss Kathy. The life and career of gentleman Gerry Coooney today. Okay. Gerald Arthur Coooney. He was born August 24th, 1956. He was an American former professional heavyweight boxer, and he competed from 1977 to 1990, compiling a record of 28 wins, 3 losses, 24 knockouts. Okay? He only competed for 13 years. But he had 24 knockouts and 28 wins, for a knockout ratio of 85%. Not bad. Not bad at all. 85.7% knockout ratio for gentleman Gerry. Known for his exceptional punching power, ranking 53rd on the Ring Magazine's list of the 100 greatest punchers. He's in the top 100. Coooney entered pro boxing after an amateur career highlighted by 2 New York Golden Gloves titles and an overall amateur record of 55 wins against just 3 losses. His most notable fight as a pro came on June 11th, 1982, when he challenged Larry Holmes for the WBC heavyweight title. A fight hyped with racial undertones that positioned Coooney as a great white hope against the black champion, culminating in a 13th round technical knockout loss for Coooney after he mounted a late rally. We're going to go into this deep later in the show. Coooney secured wins over contenders like Ken Norton, Ron Lyle, and Jimmy Young by knockout. But subsequent title challenges, including a 1987 loss to George Foreman, marked the decline of his career before retirement. The Holmes-Coooney matchup, generating over $45 million in revenue, remains infamous for its promotion's exploitation of racial divisions rather than pure sporting merit, reflecting broader tensions in 1980s heavyweight boxing. Yeah, Don King promoted that one. Okay, early life and background with Gentleman Gerry. Early life and background. Okay, with Gentleman Gerry Coooney today. Okay, let's continue in 1 minute. But how's everybody? Got a little preview on Muratalo and Cruz coming after we finish this too. Nice little preview. Okay, but the early life and background for Gentleman Gerry Coooney now. Family origins and upbringing. Gerry Coooney was born on August 24th, 1956 in Manhattan, New York, to a working-class Irish Catholic family of steelworker parents. He was raised in Huntington on Long Island, alongside 5 siblings, including 4 brothers and 6 siblings, 4 brothers and 2 sisters, okay, in a household characterized by economic hardship and strict discipline. 4 brothers and 2 sisters. Now, Gerry's father, who was a heavy drinker, and he was employed in steel construction, enforced a tough regimen on his children, often resorting to physical punishment as a means of instilling resilience. This environment, marked by daily beatings and emotional distance, contributed to a strained family dynamic. Coooney's older brother left home at age 15 to join a street gang, seeking escape from the abuse from their father. Gerry himself described the home as lacking affection, with his father's return from work daily, prompting him to retreat to the basement for safety. And Gerry said when his father would come home from work, he would go hide down in the basement because, they received daily beatings. And his father was a heavy drinker. Okay? So, the family's Irish heritage and blue-collar roots emphasized physical toughness. So Gerry later reflected that the pervasive anger in the household fueled the drive toward boxing as an outlet rather than a direct path to professional success. Initially envisioned by his father, now despite the challenges, this upbringing instilled a sense of endurance that Gerry credited with shaping his character, albeit at significant personal cost. Introduction to boxing and formative influences. Now, Gerry Coooney grew up in a tumultuous blue-collar Irish Catholic household in Huntington, Long Island, where his father, Tony, again a steel construction worker and heavy drinker, imposed strict discipline, often enforced through physical punishment. This environment, fraught with anger and fear, profoundly shaped Cooney's entry into boxing as a means to channel frustration and earn approval. His older brother, Tom, who departed home at age 15 and took up boxing around age 19, exerted a pivotal influence over Gerry by inviting him to train alongside him at the local gyms, inspiring a younger sibling to pursue the sport seriously in his early teens. Gerry initiated his training around age 12 at the Huntington Athletic Club, progressing to the YMCA and supplementing sessions with heavy bag work in the family basement and sparring in a backyard ring they had put up. His father provided rudimentary pointers on resilience and countering adversity, reinforcing boxing's role in confronting life's hardships head on. Though his father's own abusive tendencies underscored the need for controlled aggression. A formative moment occurred at age 15 when Gerry observed Tom recidively knock out a local antagonist, imparting the efficacy of overwhelming power as a defensive and offensive strategy. If Tom was his older brother. Gerry later reflected that boxing was a way to express my anger, transforming personal turmoil into athletic prowess. These early influences honed Gerry's raw physicality in the competitive form, evidenced by his victory in the 1972 New York Golden Gloves middleweight tournament at age 16, where he secured 5 knockouts across 7 fights. Transitioning to heavyweight by age 18, he amassed further amateur accolades at Gleason's Gym in Manhattan, a renowned East Coast hub that refined his technical foundations under emerging guidance. So familial dynamics remained the core catalyst for his dedication. This period established boxing not merely as recreation, but as a structured escape and proving ground amid familial strife. Okay, let's look at his amateur career. Gentleman Gerry's amateur career. Key tournaments and victories for Gerry and the amateurs. Gerry compiled an amateur record of 55 wins and 3 losses, establishing himself as a prominent heavyweight prospect in the New York scene. His key victories included 2 New York Golden Gloves championships. In 1973, at age 16, he captured the 160-pound sub-novice title by defeating Larry Derrick. 3 years later, in 1976, Coooney won the heavyweight open championship, solidifying his reputation for power and reach in regional competition. Beyond domestic tournaments, Coooney achieved success internationally, winning fights in tournaments across England, Wales, and Scotland, which highlighted his adaptability against varied opponents. These accomplishments, though not at the national AAU or Olympic level, underscored his technical growth under trainer John Capobianco Sr. prior to turning professional in 1977. still in the amateurs. Record and skill development as an amateur. Record and skill development. The Drunk Irishman in the building. Gentleman Gerry Coooney today. Drunk Irishman, how are you? Happy Friday. Still on his amateur career right now. Okay. Taking a look at Gentleman Gerry's record and skill development as an amateur. Now, Gerry compiled, again, an amateur record of 55 wins and 3 losses between 1973 and 1976. This included victories in domestic and international competitions, showcasing progressive dominance in escalating weight classes and tournament formats. In 1973, at age 16, Gerry captured the New York Golden Gloves 160-pound sub-novice middleweight championship by stopping Larry Durek in 3 rounds. By 1975, competing at 175 pounds, he advanced to the finals of the New York Golden Gloves Open division, but was defeated by Johnny Davis. He rebounded in 1976 to win the New York Golden Gloves Heavyweight Open Championship, defeating Erlas Tripp in the final. Gerry also secured titles in international tournaments held in England, Wales, and Scotland during this period. These achievements marked Coooney's skill evolution from a novice competitor to a heavyweight contender, leveraging his 6'6" stature for reach and power advantages. His progression through weight divisions honed a potent left hook and jab, fundamental to his knockout-oriented approach. So, defensive fundamentals and endurance remained areas of relative limitation, evident in losses and later professional fights. Training at the Huntington Athletic Club under coach John Capobianco emphasized raw power development, aligning with his physical growth from middleweight to heavyweight frames. Okay, professional career now. Let's take a look, start looking at his professional career with gentleman Gerry. There's him and Ken Norton. That was later on down the line in his pro career. Kenny Norton. Okay, pro career. Debut and initial successes as a pro. Debut and initial successes. Gerry turned professional on February 15th, 1977, defeating Bill Jackson by a first-round knockout at Sunnyside Garden in Queens, New York. This debut showcased his raw power and reach advantage at 6'6" tall, setting the tone for a rapid ascent in the heavyweight division. Never fought anywhere but heavyweight in his pro career. Okay. In his first year as a pro, Gerry compiled a 10-0 record, with every win coming by knockout or stoppage, including quick finishes against opponents like Joe Robinson, Jose Rosario, and Matt Robinson. This undefeated streak highlighted his devastating left hook and ability to overwhelm opponents early, as he averaged under 3 rounds per fight in these fights. By 1978, he continued the pattern, stopping durable fighters such as S.T. Gordon in 1 round, further building momentum against increasingly experienced competition. Gerry's initial successes extended into 1980, where he secured high-profile knockouts that elevated his status as a contender. On May 25th, 1980, he stopped former title challenger Jimmy Young by fourth-round technical knockout due to cuts and accumulated damage. It's him and Jimmy Young right there. A performance that demonstrated his pressure fighting against a slick, evasive veteran fighter. Later that year, on October 24th, 1980, Gerry knocked out Ron Lyle. Another battle-tested heavyweight with a history of facing champions. In the first round at Nassau Coliseum, he knocked Lyle out, pushing his record to 24-0 with 21 knockouts. These wins against fading but accomplished opponents like Young and Lyle. Young had a career record of 35 wins, 18 losses, 2 draws at the time he fought Coooney, and Lyle had a record of 37 wins, 7 losses, 1 draw at the time he fought Coooney. These wins against these experienced opponents underscored Gerry's punching power while exposing occasional limitations in prolonged exchanges. Though his early career remained marked by dominance and an 85% overall knockout rate. So then, let's talk about some major fights and title pursuits. Major fights and title pursuits for Gerry. Gerry entered the professional ranks in 1977 and quickly amassed victories, often by knockout, against journeyman opponents. By 1980, he had compiled an undefeated record of 20-0 with 17 knockouts, drawing attention for his punching power. His breakthrough came with a string of high-profile wins that positioned him as the top contender for the WBC heavyweight title. A first-round knockout of former champion Ron Lyle, December 14th, 1980. A fourth-round stoppage of Jimmy Young, former title challenger, on May 15th, 1981. And a dominant first-round knockout of ex-champion Ken Norton on February 5th, 1981. These performances against seasoned heavyweights elevated Cooney's status and led to a title opportunity against Larry Holmes. Okay, there's him and Holmes. Then we're gonna go into this a little deeper later, all the events surrounding it and everything, too. On June 11th, 1982, at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, Nevada, Gerry challenged Holmes for the WBC Heavyweight Championship. Weighing 226 pounds to Holmes' 213, Coooney started aggressively, landing heavy left hooks that staggered the champion in the early rounds. Holmes, however, weathered the storm with superior ring craft and counterpunching, dominating later exchanges. The fight ended in the 13th round when referee Steve Carson halted proceedings at 2 minutes 52 seconds of the round after Holmes unleashed a barrage of unanswered punches, resulting in a technical knockout victory for Holmes. Cooney's record stood at 24 wins, no losses, 1 draw entering the fight, but the loss exposed vulnerabilities in his stamina and defensive skills against elite opposition. Okay? So following a prolonged hiatus marked by legal troubles, Gerry returned in December 1986 with a win over St. Gordon before pursuing another title shot. On June 15, 1987, he faced Michael Spinks at the Atlantic City Convention Center for the lineal heavyweight championship and the ring belt, after Spinks had been stripped of the IBF title earlier that year for refusing a mandatory defense. Gerry, now 30 years old and fighting at the minimal recent activity, pressured Spinks with power shots, but was outboxed and worn down. Spinks scored a fifth-round technical knockout at 2 minutes 1 second of the round when Gerry's corner threw in the towel amid accumulating damage. This marked Gerry's second unsuccessful world title shot, after which he engaged in sporadic fights without further contention for major hardware. Yep, 2 title shots, fell a little short in both of them. Later fights and retirement for Gerry. Later fights and retirement. Following the defeat by Larry Holmes on June 11, 1982, Gerry endured a 28-month layoff marked by personal challenges, including struggles with alcohol and inactivity. Now, he staged the comeback on September 28, 1984, defeating Philip Brown by first-round TKO at Madison Square Garden in New York City, showcasing his retained punching power against a durable opponent. 2 months later, on December 14, 1984, Coooney secured another stoppage victory, knocking out George Chaplin in the second round in Atlantic City, New Jersey, bringing his record to 27-1 with 23 knockouts. In July 1985, amid reports of inconsistent training and prolonged absences from the gym, Gerry announced his retirement from boxing at age 28, citing a desire to step away permanently after limited activity post-Holmes. However, he reversed course less than a year later, returning on May 31st, 1986, to demolish Eddie Gregg by first-round knockout in Atlantic City, signaling renewed intent to pursue contention. And this was what set up the high-profile challenge against unified heavyweight champion Michael Spinks, which was on June 15, 1987. This was a lineal title fight in Atlantic City. And Gerry came into this fight 30 wins, 1 loss. And he did start aggressively against Spinks, but he faded under Spinks' pressure, was outboxed, and suffered a 5th-round TKO stoppage against Michael Spinks. Gerry then entered another extended hiatus of over 3 years, during which he focused on personal recovery. His final fight occurred on January 15, 1990, against George Foreman in Atlantic City, New Jersey, a matchup framed as a test for both aging contenders. At 33 years old and weighing 231 pounds against Foreman's 253, Coooney landed a sharp left hook in the first round that briefly staggered the heavier Foreman, but could not sustain momentum. Foreman rallied to secure a second-round TKO at 157 of the round, exploiting Gerry's slower recovery and landing clubbing right hands. With his pro ledger now at 28 wins, 3 losses, 24 knockouts, Gerry retired definitively after this fight, citing the toll of defeats to elite champions and his advancing age as factors in forging further comebacks. It factors against forging further comebacks. Now, fighting style and attributes for Gerry. The Big George was it for him. Fighting style and attributes for Gentleman Gerry. Punching power and technique. Punching power and technique. Gerry's punching power was exceptional, underscored by his pro record of 28 wins, 24 by knockout, 3 losses, 85.7% knockout ratio. Okay. This potency was most evident in his left hook, frequently cited as one of the most destructive single punches in heavyweight boxing history. Opponents George Foreman and Larry Holmes, who absorbed it during their respective fights against Gerry on January 14, 1990 and June 11, 1982, independently described it as the hardest punch they had ever taken. Foreman and Holmes said Gerry Cooney's left hook was the hardest punch they had ever taken. Both said that. The Ring magazine ranked Gerry 53rd among the 100 greatest punchers of all time, affirming his standing based on observing impact in fights. Yeah, Ring got him 53rd in the top 100. That's big, right there. Gerry's technique emphasized raw power generation over finesse, employing an orthodox stance despite natural left-handedness. He had natural left-handed, but he fought out the orthodox stance, which enhanced the leverage of his lead left hook and jab. Your left hook coming from the lead hand, okay, which was his dominant hand. He was left-handed. Delivered with a smooth whipping motion, the hook often targeted the body or head in combinations, as seen in first-round knockouts like those against Ken Norton on May 15, 1981, and Eddie Gregg on December 8, 1978, where it overwhelmed taller opponents through sheer concussive force. Okay, sheer concussive force. Gerry supplemented his left hook with effective uppercuts and body shots, prioritizing close range exchanges to maximize kinetic transfer from hips and shoulders. Though his approach exposed defensive vulnerabilities against mobile technicians. This power-oriented method yielded rapid finishes, but relied on setup by aggression rather than sustained feigning or distance control. Okay, strengths and limitations for Gentleman Gerry. Strengths and limitations. Strengths and limitations, okay? Excuse me for 1 second, please. We're going to continue with Gentleman Gerry Cooney. Okay, strengths and limitations. Gerry possessed exceptional punching power, particularly in his left hook, which contributed to 24 knockouts among his 28 pro wins. This potency was highlighted by observers who likened the impact of his hooks to concrete or capable of decking a horse, enabling Gerry to dispatch durable opponents like former champion Ken Norton by first round knockout, February 15, 1980. At 6 foot 6 inches tall with an 81-inch reach, Gerry leveraged his physical advantages to overwhelm shorter heavyweights through aggressive pressure and body shot, body head combination, often ending fights within the first few rounds. His hand speed for a big man allowed effective setup of power shots, as seen in stoppage wins over contenders like Eddie Gregg, first round, October 4th, 1979. Despite these assets, Gerry's stamina proved inadequate in prolonged engagement, with fatigue evident after the initial exchanges in his sole fight beyond 8 rounds, the June 11, 1982 defeat to Larry Holmes, where he absorbed punishment while slowing markedly. That was the only fight went past 8 rounds, it went 13. His defensive lapses, including poor footwork and an inability to clinch or slip punches effectively, exposed him to counterpunchers from technically superior foes, contributing to knockdowns and losses to Holmes, Michael Spinks, and George Foreman. Those were his only 3 losses: Holmes, Michael Spinks, and George Foreman. His defensive lapses showed in all 3 of those fights. We're looking at some of his flaws now. Over-reliance on left side power neglected his right hand, limiting offensive variety and predictability against evasive boxing. Quick knockouts in early career fights also deprived him of seasoning in adversity, amplifying vulnerabilities against Hall of Fame caliber opponents. Yeah, sometimes all those early knockouts could be negative because you're not going up into fight getting work and getting seasoning. You know, that's what I think exactly what happened to Edgar Berlanga. Remember, he had like 16 straight knockouts in his first 15 fights. And then when he got in there against a good opponent and had to go deep in fights, he looked terrible, right? This was similar to Gerry before that. Getting all those early knockouts ain't good all the time, you know? Stunts your seasoning. Now, some controversies in his life for Gerry. Some controversies. Okay, yeah. Promotion of the Holmes fight and racial narratives. We're going to look at that deeply now. Promotion of the Larry Holmes fight and the racial narrative in that one. Okay. Yeah, Don King was the main one behind that too. The promotion of the June 11th, 1982 WBC heavyweight title fight between champion Larry Holmes and challenger Gerry Coooney emphasized racial contrast to maximize commercial appeal, with promoter Don King dubbing it a black and white fight and framing it as a symbolic clash akin to a civil war. King, known for leveraging controversy to boost gate receipts and closed circuit television sales, highlighted Cooney's undefeated record, specifically against prominent black heavyweights, including knockout of Ken Norton on May 15, 1981, and Ron Lau on March 17, 1979, positioning Coooney as a viable white contender in an era dominated by black champions since the 1970s. This selective matchmaking by Cooney's manager, Dennis Rappaport, who prioritized fights against aging or high-profile black opponents to build credentials, fueled narratives of racial targeting. Though Rappaport maintained the choices were strategic for title contention rather than ethnically motivated. Yet I believe him too, because those were the only fighters, those were who you had to fight to get title shots. You wasn't getting no title shot fighting Gerry and George Chuvalo and them guys. You had to fight Norton, Lau, Young, yeah. So Coooney was saddled with the Great White Hope moniker, a term evoking early 20th century racial dynamics around figures like Jack Johnson, despite his public discomfort and efforts to downplay race, insisting the fight hinged on skill alone. Yeah, Gerry was firmly against the race card that Don King was playing. Okay. Holmes, perceiving the hype as unfairly elevating Coooney beyond his merits, repeatedly asserted that the challenger's prominence stemmed from his skin color, stating, if Coooney wasn't white, he wouldn't be the #1 contender, and accusing promoters of exploiting racial divisions for profit while ignoring black fighters with comparable records. Yeah, that's exactly what Don King was doing, right? Mm-hmm. Now, pre-fight press conferences amplified tensions, with Holmes confronting Cooney's camp over perceived slights, including unequal pay guarantees tied to racial billing. So the event ultimately grossed over $10 million in pay-per-view revenue, underscoring the financial efficacy of this strategy. Now, media coverage. Particularly in outlets sympathetic to civil rights narratives, portrayed the buildup as emblematic of lingering American racial divides, with some labeling Cooney's rise as a proxy for white resurgence in a black-dominated sport. So, empirical analysis reveals the promotion's roots in market dynamics. Heavyweight boxing's appeal waned without cross-racial intrigue. It's evidenced by prior all-black title fights drawing lower interest. Okay? Coooney later reflected that the racial framing was a dumb thing, orchestrated by Don King without his endorsement, leading to personal backlash, including hate mail and threats. Yet, Gerry maintained no intent to embody ethnic symbolism. Holmes, in retrospect, acknowledged the mutual victimization by promoters, but stood by his view that the narrative disadvantaged black athletes by prioritizing spectacle over merit. This episode highlighted causal incentives in combat sports promotion, where racial dichotomies served as a proven draw absent stronger alternatives like unified divisions or broader talent pools. Now, involved parties' perspectives in empirical context. Involved party perspectives in empirical context. Now, Gerry Coooney expressed strong disapproval of the racial framing in the promotion of his June 11, 1982 fight against Larry Holmes, describing it as a dumb thing to do, and noting that promoter Don King positioned him as the Great White Hope based on his skin color to sell tickets. Yeah, Don King was the main culprit in the right. Gerry had nothing to do with it. Gerry was against it. Gerry just wanted to fight. The Gerry emphasized The he and his camp ignored the hype, focusing instead on the athletic competition, and later reflected that the experience was distasteful despite the financial gain. And they had made a t-shirt, and everybody made a big deal over it. I didn't see anything wrong with it. It said, not the white man, the right man. What was wrong with that? It was like they was taking race out of it. But a lot of people made a big deal over that at that time. Not the white man, the right man. That was taking race out of it to me. I saw nothing wrong with that. Yeah, they had a t-shirt. Coooney and his team had a t-shirt saying that. It looked like they was trying to deflect it from race to me. So I didn't see anything wrong with that t-shirt. But anyway, Larry Holmes viewed the build-up as unfairly elevating Coooney due to race, stating prior to the fight that if Coooney wasn't white, he wouldn't be nothing, and that Cooney's #1 contender status stemmed from public demand for a white challenger rather than merit alone. But he beat Norton, Lau, and Young, the other contenders. So he earned the shot, I thought. But anyway, Holmes resented the racial narratives, implication of his own inferiority, but urged to focus on boxing, telling Coooney pre-fight, "Let's have a good fight," while facing personal threats that necessitated relocating his family for safety. And this is the culprit, the man behind all the nonsense. Don King, the event's promoter, deliberately amplified racial contrast by billing the matchup as a black and white fight to maximize commercial appeal, contributing to heightened tensions that drew a record $7 million live gate at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. This strategy, while boosting revenue exceeding $40 million overall, provoked backlash, including death threats to homes from white supremacist groups and vandalism, prompting authorities to deploy sharpshooters on hotel rooftops. Empirically, Holmes, aged 32 with a 39-0 record and defending his WBC heavyweight title for the 12th time, outlasted 25-year-old Coooney 28-0 with all knockouts at that point. And it lasted 13 rounds, and Holmes secured a TKO victory at 2:52 of the round when Cooney's trainer threw the towel in. Holmes knocked Coooney down in the second round and dominated late with 11 unanswered right hands, while unofficial scorecards showed Holmes leading 116-109 on all the cards at the time of the stoppage. Despite Coooney landing body shots and Holmes absorbing early pressure, Coooney also lost 2 points for low blows. And Gerry had never been past 8 rounds at that point in a fight. Okay, and he clearly slowed toward the end. Now, despite the pre-fight racial rhetoric, Holmes and Coooney developed a friendship afterward, with Holmes inviting Coooney to family events and the pair reflecting decades later on ignoring external noises to prioritize mutual respect as boxers. This outcome underscores that while This outcome underscores that while promotion exploited racial divides for profit, the fighters' interactions revealed no inherent personal animosity rooted in race. Okay, they became best of friends after that. Now, post-boxing endeavors for Gerry. Post-boxing endeavors for gentleman Gerry Coooney. Post-boxing endeavors. Personal recovery and sobriety. After retiring from boxing in 1987, following a loss to George Foreman, Gerry grappled with alcoholism that had persisted throughout his pro career. exacerbated by childhood trauma from an abusive alcoholic father. His post-Holmes defeat in 1982 marked the onset of deeper spiraling, leading to years of personal turmoil before achieving sobriety. Coooney reached a turning point around 1988, crediting a moment of desperation described as crying out during a breakdown, with initiating his recovery alongside involvement in Alcoholics Anonymous program. By 2017, he had maintained sobriety for 29 years, a milestone he has sustained, surpassing 35 years as of 2023, 35 years without a drink. Wow. He has characterized alcohol as his toughest opponent, surpassing challenges from fights against figures like Larry Holmes and Michael Spinks. He said alcohol was his biggest opponent. Mm-hmm. Recovery transformed Gerry's life, enabling him to channel experiences into counseling others with addiction, including through speaking engagements and contributions to recovery-focused media. His journey is detailed in the 2019 biography, Gentleman Gerry, A Contender in the Ring, A Champion in Recovery, co-authored with Patrick A. Grady, which examines overcoming alcohol dependency and boxing pressures. Gerry has emphasized financial prudence during his career, saving earnings to avoid prolonged ring dependency as a factor aiding post-retirement stability. Now, philanthropy via FIST and support for fighters, the FIST program, Fighters Initiative for Support and Training. Okay, let's talk about that. In 1998, Gerry founded the Fighters Initiative for Support and Training, FIST, a nonprofit organization dedicated to aiding retired boxers in transitioning to life outside the ring. Motivated by conversations with former fighters facing post-career hardships, including lack of job skills and financial instability, FIST focuses on providing vocational training, apprenticeship opportunities, and support services such as therapy referrals to facilitate reintegration into civilian employment after your ring career ends. Through its network of supporters, FIST has facilitated paying apprenticeship positions for more than 250 boxers, enabling them to acquire practical skills in trades and other fields. The initiative addresses the empirical reality that many pro fighters lacking formal education or transferable experience encounter unemployment and related issues after retiring from the ring, with Gerry's efforts emphasizing practical job placement over short-term aid. Beyond FIST, Gerry has extended personal support to active and former fighters within the boxing community, including assistance to individuals facing health challenges and participation in charity events benefiting boxing. His involvement underscores a commitment to the sport's participant, drawing from his own experiences to advocate for better post-career resources amid documented patterns of financial and personal struggles among retired athletes, not just boxers, retired athletes, period. Business and public engagement. look at some of his business and public engagement after boxing with Gerry. Gerry has pursued business interests post-retirement, including promoting championship boxing events and holding ownership stakes in minor league baseball teams. He maintains involvement with the Joint Association of Boxers, JAB, an organization established as the first union effort for professional boxers to address industry issues like health benefits and contract standards. In public media, Gerry co-hosts the Sirius XM radio program At the Fights alongside Randy Gordon, a show that airs twice weekly on Faction Talk, Channel 103, and covers boxing news, interviews, and historical analysis, having debuted around 2010. They got a long run. He generates income through speaking engagements, delivering talks on his boxing career, personal challenges with addiction, and life lessons, with appearances at venues such as Rotary clubs, libraries, and youth programs. For instance, in June 2025, he addressed residents at the Westchester County Department of Corrections Youth Opportunity Program, emphasizing discipline and resilience. Okay, legacy and recognition. Legacy and recognition. Achievements in boxing history. Gerry Coooney won 2 New York Golden Gloves amateur titles in 1973 and 1976, establishing early recognition for his punching power in competitive fight. In his professional career from 1977 to 1990, Gerry amassed a record of 28 wins, 3 losses, with 24 knockouts, yielding an 85.7% knockout rate among wins. None of his scheduled 10 to 15 round fights reached the final bell, underscoring his finishing ability against durable opponents. Never went the distance in his wins or losses. Okay. Coooney entered the professional ranks undefeated, achieving 25 straight wins. Well, everybody entered the professional ranks undefeated. You don't have a win or loss. But he won his first 25 fights, all by knockout or stoppage, before challenging Larry Holmes for the WBC heavyweight title on June 11th, 1982, where he was positioned to be the division's top contender. Key victories in this streak included first round stoppages of former title challengers Ron Lau and Jimmy Young, as well as a devastating 1-round knockout of ex-champion Ken Norton, which propelled him into title contention. So yeah, why would somebody say his race? He earned that title shot, right? You know, leading up to the Holmes fight, he beat Ron Lau, Jimmy Young, and Ken Norton. So he really earned the shot. I lived through it, I know. Okay. But so yeah. Gerry challenged for a world heavyweight crown a second time in 1987 against Michael Spink, further highlighting his status as a perennial elite contender despite the loss to Holmes. Now, Cooney's destructive left hook earned him a ranking of 53rd on the Ring Magazine's list of the 100 greatest punchers in boxing history, a testament to his raw power in an era of formidable heavyweight. And only got 3 losses in his career, and they are 2 Larry Holmes, Michael Spinks, and George Foreman. So that ain't nothing to be hanging your head about, losing to them three. Them only three men that beat him. Again, Larry Holmes, Michael Spinks, George Foreman. All Hall of Famers. All legendary Hall of Famers. Yeah. Honest rankings and critical assessment for Gerry. Honest rankings and critical assessment. Gerry's amateur accomplishments included winning, again, 2 New York Golden Gloves heavyweight championships and securing victories in numerous international tournaments, contributing to an overall amateur record 55-3. Gerry has received several post-career honors, including induction into the New Jersey Boxing Hall of Fame in 1997, the New Jersey Hall of Fame in 2019, and the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame in 2024. Not in the big one, international. Yeah. I mean, Turkey Alley Sheik and Rocky Balboa's in there. Why ain't Gerry Cooney in there? If they wasn't in there, I would say, yeah, Gerry don't deserve it. But Rocky Balboa and Turkey Alley Sheik, Gerry Cooney should be in there too. Critical evaluations of Gerry's career emphasize his exceptional punching power, often described as among the hardest in heavyweight history, but critique his technical limitations, including suspect footwork, a vulnerable chin, and inconsistent ring generalship, which contributed to defeats against 3 Hall of Fame opponents, Holmes, Spinks, and Foreman. Observers note that while Gerry's physical attributes positioned him as a legitimate contender, managerial decisions and personal struggles curtailed his potential for greater achievements beyond contention status. His 1981 knockout of former champion Ken Norton remains cited as his most impressive win, underscoring raw power against seasoned opposition. And there you have it. Yeah, that's it. Gerry Cooney. Gentleman Gerry Cooney. Yep. There you have it, the life and career of gentleman Gerry Cooney. Okay, let's look at, I got a little preview of Andy Cruz and Raymond Muratalla tomorrow. Raymond Muratalla defending his IBF 135-pound belt against Andy Cruz. Let's take a look at that preview. And then I got the top 10 heavyweight tens in boxing history. Oh, there they are. So I had erased that. No, I didn't. Muratalla on the left, Andy Cruz on the right. Just a little preview of the fight tomorrow. Cruz versus Muratalla. Who will execute? Who will execute? Okay? That's what it always comes down to. Who will execute? Picking Cruz, but it's going to be a good fight. 50-50, really, for me. And it's tomorrow. Because the weigh-in is today, right? Yep. And then next week is fight week for Shakur and Teofimo. That is a big card, great card there. Keyshawn and Jermaine Ortiz. Carlos Adames defending his middleweight title on there. I think Ushu on the card. So yeah, that is a great card right there. Okay. Cruz versus Muratalla. Who will execute? This Saturday night, Andy Cruz and Raymond Muratalla go head to head in a battle of skills. Okay? Go head to head in a battle of skills. Cruz has an elite amateur pedigree and has adapted well to a short period of time at the paid ranks. Muratalla is a high-level counterpuncher looking to set traps. This anticipated matchup will be live streaming on the Zone and promoted Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Box, promoted by Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Box, streaming live on the Zone. The amateur brilliance meets pro-level traps. Amateur brilliance meets pro-level traps. Andy Cruz's resume is chock full of accomplishments before he turned pro. With an amateur record of 140 wins and 9 losses, Andy took home 2 gold medals at the Pan American Games and a gold medal in the 2020 Olympics by defeating Keyshawn Davis. Raymond Muratalla's claim to fame as an amateur boxer is beating Ryan Garcia 3 times over a period starting when they were very young. The California native has a better professional resume, having faced the veteran in Tevin Farmer, Jeremiah Nakathila, and his last outing, Zaire Abdulayev. Born in Cuba, now fighting out of Miami, Florida, Cruz has gone the 10-round distance 3 times already in his 6th fight. Andy's most recent performance was impressive when he stopped Hironori Mishiro by TKO in the 5th round last summer. Who controls distance when it tightens? Who controls distance when this fight tightens? Both men possess strengths and weaknesses, which is a blanket statement for every fight. This will come down to who can execute their game plan better than the other. The boxing fans who love a tactical affair will enjoy Saturday's main event, while others will piss and moan on boxing Twitter that nothing's happening. Don't let a slow start fool you. There will be plenty going on in the ring, minor or major. Yeah, the people that look at it and say nothing's happening don't know what they're looking at, okay? Establishing a jab is a great place to start. It could also be used against the other boxer when timed properly, okay? It was boring, they wouldn't, but you don't know what you're looking at. Change the channel. Now, this pair of boxers like to set traps. It will be a matter of who will walk into more of them. High guards will be employed, so who will try to take advantage of it. Landing to the body and straight punches through the high guard will pay dividends. Andy Cruz favors working from the outside, circling while pumping his jab. Instead of sitting back or fighting in the middle of the ring, Muratalla will need to use pressure wisely and safely. If Muratalla can force this fight to the center, then push Cruz back and work on the inside, it will increase his chances of getting his hand raised. Footwork favors Cruz. Muratalla can't get stuck following Cruz around the ring, getting popped by Andy's jab repeatedly. Counterpunching is what Muratalla is great at, but he can't get lost in landing one big shot at a time. Cruz will be more active, but can't be overzealous in the second half of the fight. Cruz can fall victim to overreaching with his punches at times, which could put him in a dangerous spot. Now, Raymond Muratalla is a live dog. The Muratalla money line sits around plus 175 all the way up to plus 220. Muratalla by knockout is plus 420 and by decision plus 570. Cruz is minus 121 by decision, which is very good value, and plus 300 by stoppage. This is a fight at right around 50-50. Now, not a true 50-50 on paper, but that goes out the window as soon as Muratalo finds success. Let's just hope the fight is still up for grabs when the championship rounds start, which I believe it will be. Leaning Andy Cruz slightly, though, if I have to make a pick on it. Andy Cruz slightly. All right. Now, finish off Gerry Coooney. We in the heavyweight division today, so heavyweight boxing's 10 greatest chins. Heavyweights, not throughout boxing. Heavyweights, the big boys. 10 greatest chins. There's two of them against each other right there. Muhammad Ali and George Chuvalo might be the top two. But heavyweight's 10 greatest chins now. Let's take a look at it. We got 2 big weekends of boxing coming up. Now, if we can get every month like this with these kind of couple of big cards like this, it would be a great year. It's starting out great for boxing fans. These 2 weeks, next 2 weekends we got coming up. We can't complain. And I don't want to hear nothing about it was boring and all that. You don't know what you're looking at. Ain't no way Andy Cruz and Raymond Muratalo going to be boring. Ain't no way Teofimo and Shakur are going to be boring. Just because nobody ain't getting knocked down on the canvas and legs going all like spaghetti every other round, it don't mean it's boring. It's casual thinking. It was boring. Nobody got knocked down. It's a lot going on in there. And we got South, is it? I think South 4. I'm not sure in this fight. But let's take a look at these 10 greatest chins. I know Teofimo and Shakur, we got Southpaw Orthodox. That makes it even more exciting. They can be battling for that front foot positioning. I know those 2 are. Yeah. Little things like that. It makes it exciting. If you know what you're looking at, that is. Okay. 10 greatest ever chins for heavyweight boxing. That's if you know what you're looking at, though. Now, quite often, a boxer's chin is his final savior. If his defensive abilities or attempts at blocking a well-aimed punch to the head have failed, his chin is the only thing left that can save him. If his jaw is solid, he will take the shot and possibly go on to victory. But if his jaw is weak, it's lights out. Today we're going to look at 10 of the greatest ever chins amongst heavyweights. The following men all had amazing ability at taking blows to the jaw. Okay? So let's take a look at them. Let's take a look. 10-1. 10-1. Okay, number 10, Oscar Bonavena. Oscar Bonavena. Thomas Hill in the building. What's up, Thomas Hill? Take a look at the 10 best chins in heavyweight boxing today. Heavyweights. Oscar Bonavena had a good one. Had a good chin. Yeah. Yeah, you know it. Yeah, Holyfield had a good one. I think Holyfield was on this list. Okay, we got Oscar Bardavina at 10. Marion Wilson at 9. Marion Wilson, probably a lot of people haven't heard of his name, but Marion Wilson, this is not just for the modern era. We go all the way back to the old days, okay? Marion Wilson was 9. Ray Mercer, 8. 7. Rocky Marciano, 6. Jack Dempsey, 5. Randall Tex Cobb, 4. 4 is George Foreman. 3. Evander Holyfield, he's on here, T Hill. 2. Muhammad Ali, and 1. George Chuvalo. George Chuvalo got the best chin throughout boxing. These were the heavyweights. Yeah, Ali fought some tough guys in there, man, and you know that's how he got messed up so bad. He just could take some shots. It was crazy. Just that fight with Frazier, that third fight. And, you know, that first fight with Frazier caught him with that left hook, nobody thought he was going to get up from that. A lot of fighters wouldn't have. Frazier said in the Thriller in Manila, he hit Ali with stuff that would knock the walls of a city down. Yeah. Yeah, Ali had an incredible chin. And then he stayed in the ring too long, too. You know, he already had Parkinson's when he was as early as the second Leon Spinks fight, you know? Maybe he would have got out then. They wouldn't have got as bad as it got. Right? But it's just one of those what ifs. Okay, there we go. StreamYard. Okay, bear with me for 1 second, please. Okay. Now, where's the damn link at? Oh, there we go. Jesus. Okay. Okay, there we go. All right. There's the link. Yeah, Chuvalo, all the boxing, never off his feet. Now he was stopped, but never on the canvas, right? He always got stopped. TKO. You know, the referee or his corner stopped it. Never down on the mat, counted out for the 10 count, you know. Not George Chuvalo. He fought them all. Ali, Frazier, Foreman. He fought in the golden age, right in that era, in that age. And Holyfield, remember, he was smallish heavyweight. And they were them big guys. Always the smaller man. Evander was. But he was tough. Yeah. Never has a fighter's nickname been so apt with the word warrior emblazoned on his ring apparel. Evander Holyfield never failed to live up to that nickname. He was the real deal and the warrior, remember? Real deal and the warrior. The two nicknames. and he never failed to live up to it. That Real Deal nickname. So outgunned by opponents on more than one occasion because of his relative smallness, Holyfield was only stopped with headshots once, and that was by the juggernaut that was Riddick Bowe in their third and final fight of their trilogy. In the first two fights, however, Evander withstood some huge shots upstairs from Riddick. And Riddick Bowe was a big guy too. Height and bulk. He was big. And way bigger than Evander. Evander did the same again in two fights with the massive Lennox Lewis. Again, way bigger than Evander. And these two fights were contested at a time when the Real Deal was considered to be way past his best. The fact that he also took the best Mike Tyson, George Foreman, and Ray Mercer had to offer lets you know just how good his chin was. And to think, he was really a light heavyweight. Holyfield, yeah, he was really a light heavyweight, man. Yes, he was. Really a light heavyweight. Evander fought, what's up, YGL Greenlight? He fought Foreman, remember? Decision. Foreman did a lot better than he fought in the second career. Foreman did a lot better than everybody thought he was going to do too. But salute YGL Greenlight 53. Yeah, Foreman did a lot better than everybody thought he was going to do in that fight. But he was past, he was the George Foreman too. And that was before the Mora. Before he got the title back too. Yeah, that was before that. But yeah, YGL, Holyfield fought Foreman. He was just looking at some of the great chins in the sports history. We got Muhammad Ali was number 2. These are the heavyweight chins. Now, Ali wouldn't be number 2 throughout boxing, but George Chuvalo would be number 1 throughout boxing. Now, Muhammad Ali's name sits near the top in yet another list, and it certainly belongs on this one. The greatest could definitely take a punch, right? Never has there been a braver boxer than Muhammad Ali. He was simply fearless in the ring. This fact is proven by the number of monstrous punches he was willing to face. George Foreman, for example, was considered invincible due to his quite freakish punching power and what he had done to the only 2 men that had beaten Ali, right? Knocked them both out in 2 rounds, Ken Norton and Joe Frazier. Foreman was considered invincible, but Ali stood in there and took all of them. Took it all. Ali met and defeated Foreman. Joe Frazier also was one fierce banger. And though he did put Ali down, the great man bounced right back up. At both the start and near the end of his championship reign, Ali met 2 lethal punchers, Sonny Liston in the beginning, and Ernie Shavers toward the end. Okay? Sonny Liston in the beginning, Ernie Shavers at the end. Talking about punching, both top 5 in boxing history. When you're talking about just straight up power, right? Neither guy could stop Ali. But against Liston, it was mostly not his chin, his defensive prowess, right? But neither one of them could stop him. Liston or any Shavers. And then the top man, George Chuvalo. Yeah, he's number 1 in chins. Big Canadian. George. Now, Canadian legend George Chuvalo was never knocked off his feet inside a boxing ring. Ever. Okay? Not once. There are not too many heavyweight boxers who can say this. To not go down a single time is really quite a feat, especially for a heavyweight. right? And especially when you consider the length of George's career and the high quality fighters he was in there with. Geraldo fought in 3 different decades and against some great fighters. Cleveland Williams, Gerry, Floyd Patterson, Oscar Bonavena. None of them could put a dent in him. Not to mention Muhammad Ali, the greatest. Though not a devastating puncher, he still was able to stop some very good fighters, but not George Geraldo, and he fought him twice, right? Even the 2 men who did beat George inside the distance, Joe Frazier and George Foreman, could not put him down. The reason? Geraldo's chin was the best ever. They stopped him by TKO. Referee stoppage. Or it might have been the corner, but it was TKO. Couldn't put Big George down. No way. Okay, so yeah. That's just some of the list of the greatest chins. Randall Tex Cobb had a good one. Randall Tex Cobb's 1982 fight with world champion Larry Holmes tells us everything we need to know about the strength of his chin. For one-sided round after one-sided round, Randall Tex Cobb soaked it all up from Holmes. Not once was he down in the fight, despite the number of clean headshots Larry got on him. And Larry was a more than capable puncher. Cobb just kept coming forward. He fought the murderous punching Ernie Shavers with the same mindset. And guess what? Against Shavers, he won. He not only didn't go down, but he won. He beat Shavers, right? He knocked Shavers out in the 8th round. Other notable punchers that Cobb fought that couldn't put him down: Bernardo Mercado, Ken Norton, and Michael Dokes. It wasn't until 1985, 8 years into his career, that Randy was knocked out. D. Collier stopped him in a single round, but many people seem to think the fact that he failed to train for the fight assisted Collier. There's no doubt Cobb's chin contained more than his fair share of rock. The incredible slugfest with the puncher of the century, Ernie Shavers, proves it. And he knocked Shavers out. Now, he'd been on the mat, but he was never knocked. I mean, he was knocked out, but he still had a great chin. One of the greatest in history. Top 10 heavyweight. Jack Dempsey, the Manasseh Mauler. He came up the hard way, living the life of a freight train hitching hobo who was open to all manner of physical attack. Jack had no choice but to learn how to defend himself. He became one of the greatest heavyweight champions in history. He fought just to eat. Jack Dempsey would walk in a bar, he was a teenager, a bar full of grown men, and say, "I'll fight anybody in here for some change if you can't beat me." And the money would start going up on the bar. And Jack said he won more than he lost, because he said if he lost, he couldn't lose, because if he lost, he wouldn't eat. So Jack said he had to win. Okay? Yeah. And he became one of the greatest heavyweight champions in history, Jack Dempsey. His granite jaw was able to take serious punishment. In fact, he was only ever knocked out once, and that was a single round by fireman Jim Flynn, and this fight was said to have been fixed. Okay? And his wife was telling everybody in the audience that her husband had been paid to lose. She said they offered him more money to lose than to win. Okay? And then in the rematch, he knocked fireman Jim Flynn out in like 20 seconds or something. And Louis Angel Firpo couldn't knock him out. He did knock him down. But Dempsey, it went 2 rounds. Dempsey knocked him down 9 times. And Dempsey went down once. 10 knockdowns in 2 rounds. Isn't that something? But yeah, that's the chins. Greatest chins in heavyweight history. Yep. All right, but we getting ready to get up out of here. It's time for Just Do Boxing. Another week of boxing history in the books. Oh boy, I don't know what's wrong with this thing. But it's at the end, so I don't care. But everybody, appreciate everybody coming through again for the week. Got another big week coming next week. Get back to our sanctioning bodies next Thursday with the WBC. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's the Boxtorian bringing you all that boxing history. Everybody have a great weekend. We're going to pick it back up Monday.